Hello everyone and welcome. Today I'm going to talk about the 5 mistakes you should avoid while doing car photography. Number 1, don't always shoot at the eye level. What I mean by that is we normally see cars at our eye level, so we know what a car looks like from that perspective. What you want to do is you want to get down low at the car's level. Lie down, sit down on the ground, do whatever you need to do to get low. What it does is it makes the car look more bold and more aggressive and makes it look more professional. And that way, when you post your photos to social media, it looks better than everybody else's because you're going down low and the car looks better from that angle. So start doing that today and it'll make your photos much better. Number 2, framing. Shooting through objects or using your surroundings to your advantage. What I mean by that is when you shoot cars like wide open and there's a car right there and that's basically it. It gets boring after a while. So what you want to do is you want to frame like when you take the picture, you want to frame the car with something in the frame. So what I mean by that is that shoot through objects for like a tree that's hanging down, or maybe a small plant or flowers that's in your surroundings, in your environment. So position the car in a way so like those objects are present while you're taking the picture. So those are like right in front of the car and the car is like after that object. So it's covering a portion of the frame, that object, and then there's the car right after that. So what it does is it makes it better in a way that it looks more professional and it looks that you put effort into your photos, and it shows that you're committed to making the photos better for the client or whoever you're shooting for. So try to find gaps in buildings, try to find plants, flowers, trees. One time I had a G-Wagon and there was this 2 trees that were positioned side by side and there's a little gap in the middle. So I positioned the G-Wagon in a way that it's coming through that gap, and I shot the Mercedes logo and the portion of the G-Wagon through that gap. Those trees were blocking the frame and only the Mercedes logo and some of the windshield was visible. So it added something extra in that photo and made it better in a way that that's normally you don't see. Like you don't normally see a G-Wagon through 2 trees. So it just adds that little bit of extra something that shows that you're committed to making your photos better. Number 3, find locations fitting to the car. What I mean by that is don't find locations that don't suit the car, basically. So don't shoot in a random parking lot somewhere. Try to find locations that are that makes a car look like that it belongs to that location. For example, I shot a Toyota Corolla one time. So if you're shooting a Toyota Corolla, try to find a city type of location. So because a Toyota Corolla is a city runner car, it's a point A to B car, it's a very basic transportation. So most people would be using it in the city. So try to find like a city where there are like a lot of buildings and a lot of industrial things going on. So that way the car looks like it belongs there. On the other hand, you can also find a natural spot like a lush forest or a lot of trees and a lot of greenery going on, grass, all of that. So because the Toyota Corolla is a very fuel efficient car, that natural vibe really suits the car because it belongs to that spot, because Toyota is always striving to become more efficient and provide a basic transportation to the masses for a relatively low price. So I think it really suits the car if you find a natural spot for it. Number 4, don't shoot in direct sunlight. What I mean by that is when you shoot in direct sunlight, when the sun is right above your head, it casts a shadow right beneath the car, and all the details, all the lines of the car kind of get lost in the light. Basically, the light is very harsh. It hides the lines of the car, and it just looks terrible. So try and wait for the sunset hours, the golden hour, when the light is much softer, and then when you get to that spot, position the light or the sun in the back of the car. Like the sun is right here, and then your car is in the middle, and then you're shooting. So it's always behind the car. So what it does is it softens the car up, and all the lines of the car become more visible, and it draws attention to those lines, and also it hides unnecessary detail. For example, let's say you're shooting like a 3/4 angle and the sun is coming from the back, like from the trunk side of the car. So what that's gonna do is, it's gonna position the shadow in front of the car, and it's gonna hide all the unnecessary gap in the grille areas, like the radiator and all that. So it's gonna be a very dark spot there. And that's what you want, because you don't want details in the grille showing up, because that's not necessary. You want the entire car to be visible, and the unnecessary details need to go away so it doesn't make your photos look bad. Number 5, try using a longer focal length lens. What I mean by that is try to use a lens that's at least a 50mm or up, because what happens when you use a wide angle lens like a 24mm or below, it distorts the car and curves the car, and the horizon point is very far back, and it looks like the car is kind of bending to meet that point. So you don't want that. You want the car looking very realistic. So because of that, try to find a 50mm lens, buy a very used one, or every brand pretty much has this lens. 50mm lens is a focal length that's where the car starts looking very realistic, and what you see in real life. So it doesn't distort the car much. It has a little bit of compression, so it brings the background forward to you, and it doesn't distort the car much. And even better, if you have the money, and if you find a spot where you can use this lens, try to go for an 85mm or 70 to 200mm. What it does is it brings the background, like the horizon, very close to the car, and it flattens the image out. So since it's called compression, so it's bringing the background forward, and when it reaches that car, the car starts to flatten out, so it looks more professional. When you edit it, it looks much different from what you see in real life, and that's what you want. Great photography is when the photo you take does not look anything like real life, and that's when people start noticing things, because you don't see that in real life. You have never seen a 200mm zoom in like a telephoto lens and taking a photo with it, because your eyes are not 200mm. So that way, when you post it to social media, you get a lot of attention, and a lot of clients would come to your way. And once you keep doing these telephoto length photos, your photography just starts going to that next level. Because when you go from a wide angle lens to a telephoto lens, the difference is immense, and you will notice the difference. So anyway guys, thank you so much for watching, and let me know if these tips helped you out, and like and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.